Greetings all, it is Max and we are back, and today we're going through the drudge. There's a lot of propaganda out right now, obviously. And now what everything is going to come down to here is trying to divide people is really the whole goal of what's been going on. You get the corona thing, the BLM thing, and all of that. There's several plans out there. I'm going to do a really long video a little bit later on today when I get the time about, some of the plans that are in place that they actually published even as early as last year by like the World Health Organization about the plans that they want to do. They come up with all of these crisis plans. World Health Organization, the people that are in charge of food have a different plan, and of course military's got their plans with their terrorism stuff. And it's all kind of just how they're going to get control. I mean, of course, environmentalist wackos, global warming wackos, they all have come up with plans to try and divide people up and get them under control a little bit better. And that's what we're going through now. And they're not getting ones that work. Okay, they tried the deadly virus one, and nobody really kind of batted an eye. Right after 2 weeks, everyone's involved. Everyone's going to wear the mask. Everyone's going to isolate. Fine, whatever. But then when people realize that there is no actual problem out there, there is no pandemic, everyone ignores it. Well, then we're going to throw out Black Floyd, and we're going to raise a big stink about that and divide the people. We're going to have blacks versus whites and all this racism stuff, right? Well, unfortunately, what happened with that is black people and white people talk to each other because we're not crazy, and the radical lefties who worship the black people and are sorry for something. I don't know what they're sorry about, but they got together and decided, well, let's get rid of the police department if you don't like them. And everyone's like, yeah, that's a good idea. And because you can't have people coming together to take out a government institution such as the police department, and that's bad. So they immediately get rid of the money for Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and they roll that out. And now we're going to roll out with Wave 2 to see how the mask thing goes again. And this is all planned by the World Health Organization. I'll do a video on it later. It's all part of the plan. That unfortunately, the third step of that plan is to actually release something, and then it's going to be a conflict between the people who won't wear the mask and the people who say that it's your fault that we have this pandemic because you won't wear the mask. It's all about division. And I'm going to say in these times like this of division, right? The enemy of your enemy is your friend. Okay. Now I realize theologically we don't agree with a lot of different people. However, we can all agree on our fundamental rights to exist and to practice our religions the way that we want to. Now, who is not going to comply with any of this nonsense with the masks and the vaccines and all this? Probably the Islamic folk. So in preparation for what's going to be happening likely in September, like I said, I'm going to do a video on this later. Likely in September, it's going to be the Islamic folks. You can team up with those guys because they're fundamentalists, all right? And they stick to their guns, and they are willing to die on the sword, so be it, for their beliefs, whereas Christianity as a whole generally isn't. They'll go along to get along. A lot of people aren't real Christians. They don't have any real morality, or it's flexible, which is satanic, of course. So what you should be doing now is building relationships with people, not isolating. Isolation is the other big key to this, okay? Isolate people away, but make sure their internet works so we can control everything that comes into their people's eyes. Don't isolate. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to people you wouldn't normally talk to. And if you're in a city, people of all different colors compared to you and all that, and see where they're at, okay? And strengthen your local community. So there is no question about what Susie across the street thinks about you, or your other neighbor thinks about you, or that crazy guy, that crazy hermit guy. I mean, clear up a lot of this unknowns, right? Because people need people, and you got to stick together and don't let them fracture people away. And now is not the time to be talking about whether or not Adam has a belly button amongst the Christian community either. We get bigger problems than that. All right? This is a fundamental good versus evil. Fundamental. What we're going to do here is we're going to look at some of the big propaganda things that are coming out right now. Drudge Report at some point in the last 5 years. I don't look at it very often now, but it is 100% propaganda. It's, I think, the most viewed page on the internet. So it got bought out a long time ago, and now they just run propaganda pieces, trash, rag, things that call themselves journalism, purchase links so that they can be featured on Drudge just to make the money from the ad clicks and whatnot, etc., etc. Number one thing on here for Drudge Report is a couple forced to wear ankle monitors for refusing to sign quarantine documents. Right off there, you're going to spark an emotional reaction of how dare they, right? How dare they? Just settle down for a minute. Okay. Does it sound like it's totally bogus? Yes. Odds are it's totally bogus, or it's not what they are telling you at all. We'll go ahead and look at this story. We did nothing wrong. Coronavirus infected couple put under house arrest and forced to wear ankle monitors after refusing to stay home. Okay, so apparently here, these people do exist. They're not actors. This guy's got a criminal record. He's pretty easy to find. All right. His charges were actually fairly severe. They are from a long time ago, but if he's on probation, people can manipulate him. So yeah, then they took, of course, pictures of their monitors, right? Okay, so that's proof that that's them in the monitors, apparently. So what happened is this, according to what they say, this person here wanted to go see grandma and grandpa. We got to protect them, so we got to get the COVID test so we can go protect them. And they did it voluntary, or she did it voluntary. And apparently something in there that she probably had to sign was a complete waiver of her rights if she tested positive, which is why you don't go for testing. You don't allow anybody to test you at all, period. If you're in a workplace environment that's mandating testing, write up a contract that says, hey, if you want to test me, go ahead, but you're responsible for any damages that happen to me. Okay? And that includes if you're tested positive, okay, and they want to quarantine you or whatever. They're the ones who tested you. They're the ones who got to pay for it. And they're never going to sign that, by the way. They're never going to sign that document. So they're going to have to come up with some other arrangement for you, or they'll have to pay you to stay home. All right? But that's only people really that work in the medical field that would be under any compulsory, you have to take this sort of test kind of a thing. If you work at Home Depot and they want you to do these testing, no. Don't do it. So anyways, she tested positive, and they apparently sent her a thing that says you need to self-isolate and blah, 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 and you need to agree to it and sign it, and she wouldn't sign it because it said she had to report to the health department if she went anywhere. And then apparently only 5 days later, like an army of police showed up to put ankle monitors on them and effectively put them under house arrest. Now, does that not only sound completely preposterous just on the violation of rights, but if she signed a consent, right? But preposterous on the violation of rights, number one, yes. So what is really going on here? And what's the most preposterous thing is the idea that the government, within that short period of time, could actually show up at your door with like 8 people. That's preposterous. Okay, not even going to mention that this woman doesn't look anything like what she does in her picture up here, but I guess makeup does wonders. So this is the one that was the link off of Drudge Report. Okay. And then this is off of Breitbart. Another professional photo. It's like, did they just have a stack of professional photos? And the kid here looks like this is BS. This is what the kid looks like. This is BS. Professional photos done for this stuff. And this goes into about how she wanted to go see We're Protecting Grandma and that whole thing. According to the Kentucky couple, they were placed on ankle. According to them, they were placed on ankle bracelets that sent alerts to officials if they get further than 200 feet from their home. Lynn Scott also said she did not refuse self-quarantine, but that's exactly what the director of public health department, blah, blah, blah. Okay, they're saying they got put on ankle monitors. Now, there is nowhere in here is the actual photographic evidence of any sort of a contract or any sort of anything, which it would be required, and they would have this if they were entered into some sort of an agreement, whether it's a waiver or anything. Those documents are very, very, very easy to scan and upload or to give to news agencies or to whatever. But there is none of that. There is no proof for any of this, okay? So I went to the actual county newspaper where these people live to see what the county newspaper said about it. That's Daily Caller. Here's the county newspaper. The News Enterprise. Couple on house arrest after refusing to self-isolate. Okay, they look complete. This lady looks completely different every time. But see, the kid there gives it away completely. Like, this is BS. What am I doing here? The same basic story, but down here at the bottom, they're talking to the Hardin County Sheriff John Ward. Okay, said his office was on hand to execute the documents from a Hardin County Circuit Court judge. Well, who? Why is that not? I mean, this is a county newspaper. Why would they not put the judge's name on there? This was the first time his office had to execute such an order, he said. Okay, so obviously thousands of people, apparently the whole country is testing positive for COVID, so why isn't everybody on ankle monitors? The self-isolation document said that the Hardin County Circuit Court has jurisdiction over the actions on the document. Where is the document? There is a line on the self-isolation form that stated action will be taken if someone doesn't comply. This is one of those, if you don't sign, you hold somebody at gunpoint and you say sign on the dotted line. That's a completely invalid contract. Right? And if this story was true, I'd be happy for this couple because they're going to be millionaires by the time that the state pays out. Right? That's how ludicrous it is. And I don't think that John Ward, who is a career sheriff, he's a career guy working in law enforcement his entire life, is really going to enforce something that's completely unconstitutional and completely stupid. There's more to this story. This is under quotes. This must be what it says. I think I read that. The courts have jurisdiction pursuant to some form that they have. Talking about they added another 14 days. Terry Bergen, Public Information Officer, Lincoln Trail, said to protect the privacy of the family, she can't comment. The part that I wanted to read, where are you? There's the part that maybe it just got taken out already, where John Ward says, oh, it's in a different one. Okay, that's the one from the county. So when I look up John Ward, and we get Daily Caller, and it's the same one again. Okay, this is the same story. Here we go. A statement received. Do they actually have the statement, I wonder? We do have this statement. See, these guys actually have documents because people probably want to go after the police. So we'll just read it here. Here is the actual statement. No law enforcement agency, including the Hardin County Sheriff, has initiated a petition to isolate anyone based on COVID testing in Hardin County. What does that mean? It means that the story is a lie because they're not putting ankle bracelets on anybody for anything. Who else is going to be doing it? Does the Department of Health run around with ankle bracelets for people? In such a case, a petition would be filed by the Lincoln Trail, whatever health department, and orders to isolate or quarantine would be issued by a judge. On Thursday, July 16th, the Hardin County Sheriff delivered notice orders to isolate and quarantine as directed by the court, just as we delivered thousands of court notices each month as part of our duties of the office. So they have a list of people that apparently if you test positive for COVID, you go around, you give them a flyer that says, hey, you're supposed to stay inside. It violates your fundamental right to travel. So it's a suggestion. The Hardin County Sheriff's Office did not install location monitoring devices on anyone in Hardin County. We have no open cases, nor have we had any cases involving the enforcement or failure to isolate for positive COVID ID tests. See? Do you see this, people? They want to make you believe that they're going to lock you down. They're going to lock you down, throw an ankle monitor on you, put you in jail, whatever. No. All the sheriffs did was they're supposed to hand them a flyer, and that's what they did. How does this ankle monitor stuff go in there, and what's going on with that? I don't know. But according to the sheriff's office, it has nothing to do with them. The court action that resulted in the notices delivered by the Hardin County Sheriff's Office on Thursday is a confidential case. Can't find out more. Why is it a confidential case? Therefore, the Hardin County Sheriffs will not be making any further comment and cannot release any documents or additional information unless directed by a court. Sure. Because there is no law breaking there. These people apparently don't have any, there's no criminal anything. They were there to deliver a notice. And I think the rest of it is all just made up fantasy. Made to be a newspaper or a news story with miraculously, to make it look like this is off a cell phone. Do cell phones take that good of pictures? What's he looking at? It's fishy. At any rate, I'm gonna cry bull on it. Okay? Baloney. Back to Drudge, and we'll just do a quick glance over. The stuff that's out there for propaganda now is kind of funny. So what do we got? Virus is crushing the United States. Is it? Not that I know of. Inside Trump's rush to abandon leadership role? Nah. Florida reports 10,000 new cases for 6 days in a row. My guess is they opened up testing at all these different locations. The more people they test, the more they're going to get. Scientists provide conclusive data that mosquitoes can't spread it. So you've been talking about this the whole time. Like, right when this whole thing came out, it's like, well, what about mosquitoes and bug bites and stuff, right? And they're finally under the top links. They're finally saying, oh, no, mosquitoes can't spread it. And you look at like why they couldn't. It's total fabrication. Yeah, mosquitoes can mysteriously spread all these other things like dengue fever and malaria, but they can't spread AIDS, and they can't spread all these other things. I don't know. Bahamas is closing its border. Kanye is cracking. They're looking at divorce. Oh no, Kanye's running for president. Well, yeah, if Kanye's a saved guy, and good old Kanye has decided he's going to take the Mr. Jello pudding pop guy, Cosby. He's going to take the Cosby way and attack his own people. And he told them, all you've been told about your history is a lie. And you can't blame Whitey for your problems, essentially. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Kanye, falls out of the sky in a helicopter, like the basketball player guy, because you can't do that. I mean, look what happened to Cosby. You can't do that. And Kanye's like a billionaire, right? Literal billionaire. He is actually living proof that black people can be successful, all right? Living proof. He is one of the richest people in the country. Yeah. Yes. President calls Biden incompetent. Wow. Ted Cruz sounds alarm on Republicans losing Texas. Well, yeah, because anything to do with lefty liberal ideology is satanic. Okay, so all those Satanists, they wreck California and they all go to Austin, Texas. Just what happens. They wreck where they're at to where it's unbearable, and then they leave and go wreck someplace else. There's a lot of big guys on YouTube like Joe Rogan and stuff that are all fleeing to Texas. Yeah. Arizona turns blue. Yeah, they're all flooding out. All of the lefty people, they're done ruining where they live, and now they're going to go ruin someplace else. But we can't make this dividing people, because that's what this is all about. But it is the mentality. You have all the people that are in their upper 50s, the tail end of the baby boom generation, that are crazy people. Luckily, I could say luckily the millennials don't watch the news. Okay, so they're not quite as quite as messed up as like a lot of the Gen Xers are. As pandemic surges, so do waistlines. Yes, because when you're stressed out, your glands don't work properly, your endocrine system does not work properly, and you can't. Your body is in like sort of emergency mode where it's trying to hold on to its calories and stuff because it might need them for a famine or something like that. I don't know. It's just what happens. As stress goes up, so does your weight. Which is why exercise, you're going to lose weight, because you're relieving stress with exercise, not necessarily the burning calories aspect of it. Claim poor diets threaten U.S. national security. Well, what this is going to be running on is that we can be affected through our food supply, and therefore we're going to need measures to make sure that our food supply is up to federal mandated whatever it's going to be. So this is why we're looking at getting another freezer, because they're going to have, pretty soon, meat is going to be dirty. If they decide to release another actual real virus that actually hurts people, which I'm doubting they will, but it's in the plan, okay? If they actually do that, then they're going to go after meat and all of these like chicken farms and all that stuff. And then they're going to have clean meat brought to you by Bill Gates. NFL players season might not happen. I don't think anyone cares. Hollywood nervously awaits fallout from Johnny Depp trial. Huh. Yeah, old Amber Heard's kind of in trouble there. She probably doesn't have money to pay Johnny Depp for losing his contract to Disney, but I'm sure Johnny will survive. Friendliest, not fittest, is the key to survival, scientists argue. Doesn't that sound counterintuitive? But hey, it's what they want. You got to be friendly. Got to be friendly to everybody. Now, building communities is great, but if you have a neighbor that continuously parks his car on your lawn, are you going to be like, "Oh, that's okay, neighbor. That's okay," while it's burning you up inside? Or are you going to go, "Hey, knock it off"? Which one's better for your survival? Letting someone walk all over you, or standing up for yourself? Probably standing up for yourself. Aging master circuit discovered. Extending human lifespan to follow? This is a nonsense news article. See, we're doing something. Space race. First Arab space mission to Mars launches from Japan. Really? This is going to be exciting. This is going to be exciting. This is probably going to go up on both of my channels, because these things typically, they kind of cross over from theological, spiritual sort of things into, what is truth in general. And of course, we always love the space stuff because, yes, we live on a flat plane. Space is likely not real, at least what they're telling us. We're certainly not going to the moon. United Arab Emirates spacecraft rocketed into blue skies from a Japanese launch center Monday. The start of a 7-month journey to Mars on the Arabs' first interplanetary mission. Mars orbiter, they're going to Mars. Yay. So they're putting up a balloon, or they're launching a rocket and putting up a balloon, and then they're going to fake images, and they're going to scam the Arabs out of money too. I don't know how many Arabs actually believe in space either, because they're Islamic folk. Calling for multilateral COVID solutions, of course. Deep South supermarket takes stand, no mask required. Yeah, there's a lot of places that should be doing that. And then you're going to see the article next week is going to be Deep South supermarket is raided by the feds, is what it's going to be. Oh, come on, let me go in. There we go. Well, the story's not at the link. Well, that's sad. Russia's elite given experimental vaccine for months. Now, this is the part where the Alex Jones followers, where Alex is like, vaccines are bad, but the elite, they got good vaccines, the vaccines that actually work. That's the Alex Jones line. So this is where everyone's supposed to be mad at the elite. Sorry, Drudge report automatically refreshes. We're supposed to be mad at the elite, and the elites, they're going to unleash. This is why I don't think they're going to actually unleash something that actually kills people, because everyone knows that it's going to be them. So they have to have a scapegoat out there. So they have to say, if something real is unleashed that actually hurts people, it's going to be probably Iran. They're going to say, Iran released this deadly biotoxin, whatever. Because Israel's been poking Iran with a stick lately, and it would serve everybody nice if we could just go over there and blow them up. So yeah, Iran or North Korea, one of them, any one of the couple of countries out there that doesn't have an international bank. Yeah. Yeah, Russia's elite experimental, like these vaccines exist, right? You have the common cold vaccine. Well, you can't, because all that stuff is already inside your body. It's immune response to whatever could be happening. You can have an immune response to Wi-Fi. You can have that's why everyone's so mad about 5G, is because it's yet another immune response your body has to get used to when they turn it on. And your body eventually gets used to it. It's not good for you, but your body gets used to it. But it does cause sort of like a cold in some people. But they have a vaccine. It's the elite. Russia's got it. Celebrities in mess are a bummer for paparazzi trade. Oh, darn. Darn. We have to move all this over so we can catch these other links. Some federal judge's son's killed. Interesting. This auto refresh is driving me bananas. Trader Joe's to eliminate product names criticized as racist. See, we're already long past this whole racism thing. That thing failed, but it was put in place already by all of these big box corporations. They already had the tooling in place. They already had the new box art. They already had the new stuff to change it from whatever was on the cover to something else, and nobody cares because the races are not mad at each other at all. So why this is even a story, who cares? But it just goes to show, I mean, it was in plan for a long time. They didn't just, hey, let's spend $10 million rebranding, at least $10 million, probably more like $100 million in some of these cases. I mean, You got to think of like the Quaker Oats guy, right? They're going to go after him next. But even in the case of Aunt Jemima, really wrecking the family legacy by taking her off the boxes and the bottles and all that stuff. But can you imagine the cost involved in retooling all of those bottles of syrup and redoing 100% of your marketing stuff? It's incredibly expensive. And to think that they're going to do it overnight because somebody cried racism is ridiculous. That was already in the plan. But nobody cares because we don't care about the racism stuff. Realistic, real people don't. People that aren't confused by all of this propaganda nonsense. Trump sends federal agents to major cities. I don't doubt it. House Dems seek probes to secretive police actions. Yeah. Navy vet asked officers to remember the oaths. Yeah, good for them. Good for them. That's why I say when people is like, oh, how could you... Trump did a speech, okay? He did a speech that was very entertaining where he talked about the left wanting to disband police departments and Trump saying, thanks for giving me the election. Thanks for getting me reelected. And this was a Trump sort of rally at not really a rally, but he was speaking at a college that was closed, that people actually had to come show up to go see him. And the crowd response was very mixed. Like, you're supposed to be cheering hoorah Trump for keeping our police, but a lot of people were like, Most people, I think a lot of people understand that the cops are, they serve a function, but it's a system that needs to hit the reset switch. All right. And I was one of those people who I have experience with the law, you should say. And I don't have any reason, from the way that I've been treated, police departments all over the place, particularly the Minneapolis Police Department too, but they weren't nearly as bad as a suburb of there where all the rich people live in Minnetonka. Those guys were terrible. I look back and I go, yeah, there's good cops out there, but they're few and far between, number one. And are those cops really that good when they turn a blind eye to bad things they know are going on? And you say, well, what did they do? They could lose their jobs. Yeah, well, true, but you can start a YouTube channel and not put your face on YouTube and discuss some of the things that are happening. Right? I mean, there are things you can do to let people know about it. So that is why I'm for completely dismembering the police department, because, yeah, do we need guys driving around giving tickets all day long? I don't think so. I don't think so. People can disagree with me, but how couple lived 29 years on island they built by themselves. See, here is the self-isolation thing. This is for the Brian Denlingers out there that think that they don't need people. He thinks that I can just go live on my 100 acres in my tiny house and be self-sufficient and I'll never need nobody. And he's wrong. Okay, he's wrong. I'm not going to go far into that, but you do need people, you do need a support network, and you do need to interact with the world while you are alive. Okay, especially in his business. Wire virus will make everything you hate about flying worse. Yeah, are airports even still open anymore? You see, the other part in there is you got to divide people up, and you got to make sure that they can't travel. Because if people can travel freely, they can talk to each other. So we can't allow that to happen. Can't allow it to happen. China struggles to explain handcuffed, blindfolded Uyghurs loaded onto train. Well, they don't have to explain anything. And the thing is, like, the next time the country wants to go to war now, support our troops, right? The next time a country wants to go to war, which is going to be Iran or North Korea, when they want to go over there and say all of these terrible things that are happening in Iran or Pakistan or North Korea, why don't you just ask them about China? Our lovey-dovey partners in China. Okay? They ain't got nothing on China. Daily presidential tracking polls. I'm gonna take a wild guess and then get out of here. Wild guess, Biden's ahead. Daily presidential. What do we got? What do we got? Approve, disapprove. Is that what it is? It doesn't tell me. So most people approve. Oh, how unpopular is Donald Trump? What's the question? It's giving me a graph here, but it doesn't tell me the question. I'm guessing this is his overall approval rating. 60%. See, all of the things that I've been seeing actually say that Biden is the front runner, which everyone knows is nonsense. Anyways, that is the Drudge Report. It is very fun to go through here and you know, point and laugh, and you kind of get some ideas on what's coming around the bend. And if you don't take any of this stuff too seriously, it can hurt you. All right. The biggest one that I've heard, even from several different places, though, is this people being put on house arrest for corona. Well, the sheriff of the county who went down there and delivered them the paper that they told him to deliver them said that they did not put any sort of tracking anything on these people. So, and I'm also going to say this guy here, his criminal record says back, I think when he's like, it says 20 here. I think it was 18 though when you look up the thing. You know, trespassing is no big deal. Fourth degree assault is no big deal. Sexual misconduct, kind of, sort of no big deal. Unlawful imprisonment's kind of a big deal. So, you know, if he's still on probation for the unlawful imprisonment, they could say, well, if you don't do this, it's violation of your probation. But again, you have the county cop who is a career cop, has no reason to violate people's rights or do anything wrong. Said that they have never put any tracking devices on anybody for COVID. So if you believe the news story, like everybody has got COVID now, why isn't everybody getting locked up by the police department? It's because it's fake. This is a fake story. But this is the #1 headline on the old Sludge report. Okay? Bigger than Kanye West. So, I think that's what I got with that. And for now, we're going to be out of here.